Back with our video sit-downs with the candidates. We're back to the district court judge race, a very full race. And one of the guys is running is Stephen Greer. He's across the table from me. Stephen, thanks for taking some time.
Thank you.
Let's tell everybody about you and why you're running.
Okay, well, I've been an attorney for 30 years, and I've been a part-time judicial officer for the Mason County District Court, starting up my 14th year doing that work. And I'm running because I'd like to take over from Judge Meadows, who's retiring. I love working as a judge for the citizens of Mason County, and I believe that I have the experience to do that. That differentiates me from the other candidates. I have 25 years of part-time pro tem judicial experience. Again, this is getting my 14th year for Mason County District Court. I've got a history of being a civil and criminal public defender and prosecutor, a legal aid attorney, and my private practice is in Kitsap. I only work as a judge in Mason. And in my private practice, I represent children that are abused and neglected, that are in foster care, people that are mentally ill, crime victims, and victims of human trafficking are the things I do in my private practice. But pro tem judge work is something I've been doing 25 years, 5 years into my 30-year career as an attorney, and it's something I love, and people should love their job. And I believe that my depth of experience with the district court system differentiates me from all the other candidates.
So you've said differentiates. That's my next question. You're jumping ahead. Can you elaborate on how you differ from the others in this race? Can you just give me more on that, some of those points?
Well, a lot of it's just the fact that at least one other candidate does have judicial experience. He's actually a friend of mine, and the city judge of Shelton. And I think what makes us different is we have different personalities. I think it's true for everybody. I'm a bit more laid back. I believe in de-escalation in a courtroom. I think my skills of working with people who are mentally ill has a lot to do with that. Also, my experiences in the district court. I have done some city court work for Bremerton, Port Orchard, Shelton, Gig Harbor, and Olympia. But district court for Kitsap and Mason, I do on a regular basis. And district courts are different. We do civil matters that city courts do not do. Small claims court, civil lawsuits, anti-harassment orders, domestic violence protection orders, name changes, sexual assault protection orders. These are all things unique to the district court. I think that makes my background different.
So obviously you have the experience. What are the biggest issues facing district court? Maybe the biggest challenges?
They have a number of them.
Okay.
And I'm very familiar with them. The biggest issue facing the district court, which is probably facing pretty much every department in the county, is budget. And it has its effect on everything. A couple years ago, one of the biggest issues was jail space. Thanks to our sheriff, it's not as much of an issue as it used to be. When I need somebody to go to jail, our sheriff has room in the jail. It's rare if he does not, and he's contracted with the Squally tribe in Lewis County Jail to make that happen. That was a huge effort that's graciously appreciated by the court. But budget's still top priority, and courts are going paperless. And it comes with a price tag. Also comes with increased efficiency, and the question is how to get there. The Mason County District Court right now is slowly moving to a paperless court, and I've been a huge driving force behind that personally. Working with their administrator on the developing forms. They're now on a computer system, as opposed to the 3 or 4 layered piece of paper that presses through, which of course been using for half a century. They're going to stop making those. So the court's got to find another way around it. So we've been looking at a number of places. We looked at Old Court, which is run out of Olympia from the state, really only designed for cities, not going to help the county. Some counties like Pierce and Kitsap and Snohomish are looking at a program called Journal. It's a nice Cadillac that Mason County cannot afford and bypasses the state court system in Olympia. So right now we're kind of looking at Thurston County. They've got a nice hybrid going on. They've done it on their own. Hopefully it's low maintenance. The administrator for Mason County and IT people from Mason County are going to go there, for lack of better words, a field trip here in the near future to see how that program works. But the goal is we have to find something. The JIS, or Juvenile Information System program that district court runs off of, is 45 years old, and it works off of DOS. Now, Olympia is saying that they're going to create a cloud-based encrypted program sometime in the near future, but we don't know when near future is, and we need something now. And again, goes back to the budget. We have 6 clerks, probation clerk, an administrator, and 2 probation officers, and the volume keeps increasing in the court. That's the same staffing levels of a decade ago, but the volume has increased. So with an electronic court, new employees are not needed. The same employees can maintain a higher caseload with less manual effort if they're not pulling paper files, printing off dockets for people, and they can do it through a computer system and not go to a shelf and come back, go to the basement of the courthouse and come back, go to the 3rd floor most people don't know about and come back. So budget is the issue, but when you bring up an issue, you should have a remedy, and the remedy is going to electronic, some people call it paperless court system. Sounds kind of scary, but it's a necessity. It needs to happen.
So going with more on that lines of technology, the courts use video systems. Would you want to see the use of video hearings more often in courts?
Definitely.
Okay.
One advantage I have is I've experienced a lot of courts.
Okay.
So the city of Olympia, for example, uses video for court for arraignments from the county jail or their city jail, which is physically like 100 feet away. But it's a security issue and a money issue and a convenience issue. And it's mainly used for arraignments. In Kitsap County, they also do video arraignments. It's commonplace in their district court. And the Mason County Court has had a screen up on their wall, I'm thinking for longer than a year now, but it's not been fully implemented. The jail, it has its own struggles. It's a very outdated jail. Making space for video where it's safe for a public defender to be in there with the criminal and project it to the courtroom is an issue. They're starting to do it in Superior Court. I think it happened very recently in a case that's been on the news where the public defender and defendant were sitting in the jail. District Court can't do that. District Court's waiting to do that. We have our equipment, it's ready to go. It has a lot of advantages. There's a time advantage. Right now the jail brings prisoners in chained together, 3, 4 at a time. Takes 1 or 2 correction officers. If you have a high-risk person, it could take 3. And it's physical movement. And every time the jail does physical movement, there's an issue of danger that could happen. So it's a safety issue and a time issue and a money issue. And it's definitely the way things are going.
So you bring up security. That's another one of the things that kind of came up when I'm talking to people. How are how's the Mason County Courthouse security-wise from your standpoint?
Needs improvement. And I'll say that from my experience of other courthouses and also my unique, I guess, educational background. I have a bachelor's and master's in criminal justice, and that also helps me on some issues. I helped design the security of the Child Support Division in the Kitsap County Prosecutor's Office when they were remodeled. When I look at the security of the Mason County Courthouse, I don't want to give anybody ideas, but as I say, it's lacking what some other places have, but other places also lack what Mason County has. The fact that Mason County has 1 entrance and 1 exit for the public and employees in general is good. The fact that their security are not, generally speaking, former law enforcement officers or retired law enforcement officers or current law enforcement officers is a negative, despite the fact they're good people. They don't have powers of arrest. They don't have law enforcement experience. That is very important at a checkpoint going into a courtroom. And I find that the county in general, unfortunately, reacts to a crisis. The security is there now occurred after there was a crisis. And I arrived shortly after that crisis. And it involved pepper spray, blood on the steps on the way outside the courthouse, an injured correctional officer, and a judge and a couple clerks that had to be cleared by medical personnel for inhaling pepper spray. We don't need that. And so what we have now, I would say, is probably better than half the courthouses, but we could still make some improvements.
So if you take over the city, you win this election, what would be your top priorities?
My top priorities is moving the court towards an electronic system because it's a necessity. So it has to be a priority. There's no choice. Another priority is making it easier for the average person to access court. Some people term for that access to justice, but they're referring to many things when they say that, so I'll be more specific. In particular, the average person. If you're like me, I get a traffic ticket about once every 10 years. And it may not be in the most convenient place, like maybe Snoqualmie Pass in King County.
Okay.
And so what are you going to do with that ticket? Well, you don't live anywhere near the King County courthouses, but you've got this ticket to take care of. And maybe you can pay it by mail. Some places you can pay it by phone. But what if I want to contest it? What if I want to say, hey, there was something that was going on, I want to mitigate my ticket? You're working 5 days a week, taking care of your family. Maybe you don't live in Mason County, and you're going to have to go to a courtroom for a 3 to 5 minute hearing tops. That should be made more convenient, because a district court is the court that most people go to if they're going to end up in a courtroom. And they usually only go there once in their whole lifetime, and it's usually a traffic ticket. And we do some mitigation by mail right now. That needs to be expanded. Other courts have expanded, and I take it a little bit farther than them. I believe we should do mitigation and contested infractions by mail, so people don't have to physically come to the courtroom. They explain on the form their position, sign under the oath, let a judge read it. I'd like to take it one step further as well. I'd like to be able to do that electronically by email. Someone can sit down at their computer at 6 o'clock at night. They have their ticket number, which would be the way to get in to the system, write down what they want the court to know, type in their name, saying it's under oath, and send it to the court. So a judge can look at it, respond to it, and the clerks can process the result. I think sometimes people forget the court and the judge were public servants. Supposed to be things easier for the public, not harder. So I think that's a great way to go.
Okay, we've covered everything that I've had. I mean, you bunched a couple of them together, which is great. I like that. It's efficient. That's what we want in a court system, is efficiency, correct?
Correct.
The last thing that I like to do, and I did prepare you for this.
That's fine.
I want you to give us a brief reason why you are the best person to be our next district court judge.
I believe the best person for next district court judge because I'm already doing it part-time, and I believe I'm doing it well. And since I've been doing it for almost 14 years, I guess local attorneys and many defendants and civilians out here in the county can make their own judgment on that. But I work well with the staff. They're all fantastic people. I've been a huge promoter of their probation program, which is self-funding. I want to keep it going. And I think what members of the public really want is a lower crime rate. Everyone wants a lower crime rate, right? And we can, I won't get into the details of how legislatures play with statistics, but from a judge's point of view, which is what I guess I'm offering, it's not about let's be hard on crime. That's the prosecutor's job. Legislator's job to decide that. It's not about, oh, I'm the smartest person in the room, so I should be the judge. That's arrogance. It's about being fair, being respectful, knowing what you're doing, and doing it. It's the reality that I've already dealt with. You have 60 court hearings and you have 3 hours. Right. They all have to be done, and they all have to be done now, not later. And every person you see, I treat with respect. I don't care if they're a homeless person who's in trouble for urinating somewhere in the public, or whether they're, no offense, they're a politician who's been arrested for domestic violence. They all get respect, they all get treated the same. That's what I do, and that's what you want in a judge, is someone that is fair and equal to everybody and can get the job done every day in a pressure cooker, keep security in mind, keep violence out of the courtroom, and just get it done.
Excellent. Thank you for taking some time talking to us.
Thank you for your time.